Live in Western Oregon, this is NBC 16 News at 11.
Being talked about tonight, a video shot by NBC News 27 years ago, offering a glimpse into the past relationship between President Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, who is now facing new sex trafficking charges. Good evening and thanks for joining us on NBC 16 News at 11. I'm Alexis Thrower. Alan Matthews is off. NBC's Stephanie Gosk has the details.
A 1992 party at Mar-a-Lago. Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein shared a joke and a laugh. NFL cheerleaders danced among the crowd. The video from NBC's archives was shot more than a decade before Epstein served 13 months in a Florida jail for procuring a minor for prostitution. Last week, after Epstein pleaded not guilty to new federal sex trafficking charges, the president characterized their relationship.
People in Palm Beach knew him. He was a fixture in Palm Beach. I had a falling out with him a long time ago. I don't think I've spoken to him for 15 years. I wasn't a fan.
But in a 2002 magazine article, Trump called Epstein a terrific guy, adding, "It is even said he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side." On Thursday, a federal judge will decide if Epstein gets out on bail. Prosecutors have argued he is both a risk to the public and a flight risk, citing his more than $500 million wealth, piles of cash, loose diamonds, and an expired foreign passport under a different name, but with Epstein's photo, his residence listed as Saudi Arabia. The defense team said the passport was acquired from Austria in the 80s for personal protection when Epstein traveled in the Middle East, stating their client was concerned about kidnappers, hijackers, or terrorists. Tonight, decades later, Epstein's fate is in the hands of a federal judge. Stephanie Gosk, NBC News, New York.
Prosecutors have dropped a case against Kevin Spacey, which accused the actor of groping a young man at a Nantucket bar. The Cape and Islands District Attorney says it is dropping the case because of the unavailability of the complaining witness. Last week, the accuser invoked his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination and refused to testify about a missing cell phone and deleted text messages. Spacey was accused of indecent assault and battery in the case brought last year, and Spacey denied the allegations. House lawmakers block an effort to impeach the president today, voting overwhelmingly 332 to 95 in favor of tabling articles of impeachment offered up by Texas Representative Al Green. His resolution cites the president's recent and inflammatory tweets targeting 4 female representatives of color. It does not mention the special counsel investigation into Russian meddling in the 2016 presidential election. The House of Representatives voted to hold Attorney General William Barr and Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross in criminal contempt of Congress today. Barr and Ross are being held in criminal contempt of Congress for obstructing a probe into the administration's failed bid to aid a citizenship question to the 2020 census. The Democratic-controlled House passed the resolution by a vote of 230 to 198 today. No Republicans voted in favor of the resolution, and 4 Democrats voted against it. The vote was scheduled after Barr and Ross withheld documents that had been subpoenaed by the Oversight and Reform Committee as part of its probe into the origins of the now scuttled citizenship question. On to a first look at weather. NBC 16's Travis Knudsen joins us now.
High temperatures today across the region. We're a little below average for this time of year, but still very comfortable for us. 82 degrees in Eugene. Roseburg, warm there at 87 degrees, 72 in the North Bend Coos Bay area. Tomorrow, not quite as warm, and it's all because of storm systems moving its way into the Pacific Northwest. Satellite and right overhead showing a few little lingering showers or starting showers up across the Cascades, but the rain that we have tonight will be primarily in the early morning hours, meaning after midnight. Low temperatures around the region, cooling down to the mid to low 50s. Highs tomorrow, upper 70s into the mid 80s, which is a little bit cooler than where we were today. Rain chances pretty minimal, but the sun comes out pretty quickly, and oh boy, things warm up as we head into the weekend. I'll show you the Saturday and Sunday forecast coming up here in just a couple minutes.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Travis. Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler stood on a national stage today to call for big, bold steps to address climate change. Wheeler testified before the Senate Democrat Special Committee on the Climate Crisis in Washington, D.C. Wheeler told the panel the narrative that action on climate change would hinder economic prosperity is wrong.
The reality is there is a lot of money to be made by being green through green energy research and development, through green manufacturing, through green industrial opportunities, through green infrastructure investment.
Wheeler was joined by the mayors of Atlanta, Honolulu, St. Paul, and Pittsburgh. He told lawmakers that Portland's commitment to climate change started in the mid-1990s. Since then, the city's carbon emissions dropped 38%, even as the city's population grew by 34%. Another huge protest tonight in Puerto Rico, where the governor of the island is refusing to step down over a scandal involving leaked private messages. NBC's Gabe Gutierrez is there tonight.
Tonight, more protesters are on the streets of San Juan demanding Puerto Rico's governor resign.
Why should the governor resign?
Because he isn't worthy of being the governor of Puerto Rico.
There have been other demonstrations in Miami, D.C., and New York, where late today, Hamilton creator Lin-Manuel Miranda sounded off.
Lost the support of the people.
Today, a second Royal Caribbean cruise ship canceled its visit to the island after police in riot gear fired tear gas to break up a crowd in San Juan Monday. Governor Ricardo Rosselló has been under fire since nearly 900 pages of a private group chat were leaked and published by the Center for Investigative Journalism in Puerto Rico. The reported messages between Rosselló and several close aides contain vulgar jokes about female politicians and journalists, as well as an anti-gay slur aimed at pop star Ricky Martin, who joined today's protesters.
I'm not proud of what I did.
Rosselló insists he won't resign. He's faced mounting criticism over his government's response to Hurricane Maria in 2017.
Turkey's state-run news agency says a Turkish diplomat working at Ankara's consulate in northern Iraq's Erbil was killed during a shooting attack inside a restaurant. Security forces were sent into the streets in an effort to catch the shooter, who apparently got away. Turkey's president condemned the attack, pressing Iraqi and local authorities for the assailants to be apprehended quickly. The shooting took place at a popular restaurant in a high-security area about a 5-minute drive away from the Turkish consulate. The restaurant's owner said the attacker, carrying 2 weapons, opened fire on a group of diplomats and civil servants shortly after entering the building, killing a Turkish diplomat. The Turkish Foreign Ministry also stated that one of their diplomats was martyred as a result of an armed attack. The state-run Iraqi news agency identified him as the deputy general consul and said several of his entourage were also killed in the shooting. The Mexican drug lord nicknamed El Chapo will spend the rest of his life behind bars in a U.S. prison. A federal judge handed down the life sentence in Brooklyn today. Guzman was convicted of multiple counts in an industrial-sized drug smuggling operation back in February. A life sentence is mandatory under federal sentencing guidelines, but the Justice Department asked the judge to tack on an extra 30 years in prison, citing the illegal use of firearms. Guzman spoke briefly before he was sentenced today, saying he was denied a fair trial. His defense attorney agreed, saying the additional request of 30 years proved that the proceedings against his client were an apparent show trial.
If you pump hundreds of thousands of tons of cocaine and other drugs into our country, we will find you, we will extradite you, we will prosecute you, and we will bring you to justice.
El Chapo controlled much of the illegal drug trade across the Western Hemisphere for almost 30 years. Coming up next on NBC 16 News at 11, locals are stepping up as there is a national shortage of blood. And later in the show, see how local power companies are preparing for wildfire season, including new precautions they're taking this year.
When you need critical information quickly, turn to the new NBC News at 11.
Welcome back. The U.S. blood supply is low right now at a time when patients are in major need. NBC 16's Lauren Negretti has more on how locals can help meet the national demand.
At the farmers market, you can shop and eat locally and donate blood nationally. It comes at a time American Red Cross needs it most.
We are in a shortage due to a lot of different things. First, the hurricanes in the east, and of course our own recent snowgeddons that we've had in the Pacific Northwest area.
Gordon says summer vacation for schools contributes to the national emergency shortfall.
We are at probably a 3-day supply of the regular blood, and we're under 2 days for for the O blood.
Tara Moore is a first-time blood donor, giving back on behalf of her son, Kellen.
My son here has had 4 blood transfusions in his 1 year of life, so I feel like it is my duty to do it, to give back to those that gave to him, because he wouldn't be here without it.
He was born 2 months premature with a birth defect and has had 12 surgeries.
It saves little lives like this, and I think that it's really important to give, and I know because it's touched my life, and now I will try to advocate.
You could schedule an appointment and donation on American Red Cross's website. The donation truck will be back here at the Farmers Market mid-September. Reporting in Coos County, I'm Lauren Negretti.
Eugene City Councilors have passed a plan to set up local homeless shelters and hire a homeless initiative manager. Today's vote was 6-2 to proceed with the nearly $2 million plan in concept. Funds would be used to build a low-barrier public homeless shelter for $836,000. Much of today's debate centered on whether the council should postpone a final vote until a location for the shelter is figured out.
I think it would be very easy to say, oh, well, we can't find a location, I guess we can't build it. This way, we're saying we want to be a lot more deliberate and we want to really work.
The old LCC building, for example, would have a lot of what's needed for a shelter.
Councilor Taylor is pushing for other alternatives for a shelter besides what was on the table for debate. She and Councilor Mike Clark voted no on the package. New public restrooms are being added in downtown Eugene and will be monitored 24/7. This effort by the city comes after fears of safety from the stabbing incident at Starbucks on Broadway. City officials say this is one way to make downtown amenities feel safer and cleaner for everyone downtown. 2 existing bathrooms in the parking structure of East 10th Avenue and Oak Street will be operational in 2 weeks after renovations. A new trailer restroom with air conditioning will be added to the park blocks, and a portable restroom will be added in back of the Eugene Library.
Go green, save green at Lane County's exclusive John Deere dealer.
With Travis Knudsen.
We had plenty of clouds overhead today. The afternoon, however, saw a little bit of some sunshine breaking through the clouds here and there. This is at 3:30 today, where you can see some of the blue overhead. As we head through the evening hours, though, the clouds continue to move in from the west, thickening up, lowering in altitude. And that is a sign that there's more moisture in the clouds and an opportunity for us tonight to see a few rain showers around the area. It won't be anything major. Light sprinkles what we'll expect throughout the region, but that's the most amount of rain we've seen in quite some time across the area. In fact, looking at the satellite and radar loop for the last couple of hours, already starting to see some showers form farther up to the north, not quite in the Eugene-Springfield area, not yet in Douglas and Coos County. And northern spots tonight have a higher opportunity for seeing rain than those areas farther down to the south. And it's all associated with this storm system here up in British Columbia. And this storm is rolling its way out off to the east, but it has enough energy to push this cold front through our region. And this northwesterly airflow is where our relatively minor rain opportunity comes from tonight. Once we reach tomorrow afternoon, though, the storm is far enough out to the east where it's no longer impacting us. And instead, our new weather maker is this high pressure center across California. That gathers up some of the warm, dry air from the equator and funnels it our way. We tap into this air mass Thursday afternoon, even more so on Friday and into the weekend. And that really helps our temperatures to warm up as we move on. But here's a look at our model forecast as we get into the morning hours. It's just after midnight. That's when the rain showers will probably be most widespread around our area. And it's short-lived, though. By the time we reach 7 a.m., a few showers to the south across Douglas County, but not too many. By lunchtime tomorrow, we're basically done with the rain. The afternoon, the evening, we'll see blue skies overhead. Friday is a very sunny day, and the upcoming weekend we'll see a lot of sunshine as well. And there's really not a whole lot of rain in the forecast. Here's the latest forecast model run, where we'll pick up a little bit of rain, but less than 1/5 of an inch for most locations, or 0.05 of an inch. Florence, about 1/10. So light showers around the area. Not enough to keep you from having to water the plants in the lawn for tomorrow. High temperatures on Thursday in the upper 70s for the region. Winds from the north 5 to 10 miles per hour. A look at the 7-day forecast here for the Eugene-Springfield area. Sunshine into the weekend with some 80s on the way. That's right around average for this time of year after what's been a few days below average. On the coast, upper 60s to low 70s expected. Port Orford at 68 degrees. Reedsport right around 69 degrees for our Thursday. Come Friday, come this weekend, right around 70, and that's pretty much where we'll stay as we head into next week. More sunshine than cloud cover overhead for the coast, and it's been a while since we've been able to say that. For the Umpqua Valley, mid to low 80s expected tomorrow. Overnight lows tonight will essentially be around 60 degrees. A look at the 7-day forecast for Roseburg. Quite a bit of sunshine on the way, and those high temperatures finally get back to about average for this time of year. Sunday, 87 degrees. Next week, we'll continue with the sunshine and those mid-80s overhead. The only opportunity for rain is basically tonight. And again, it's a pretty minor chance with most of the showers in Oregon taking place farther to the north and those areas farther to the south, ending up drier with just a raindrop or two tonight into early Thursday morning.
Thank you so much, Travis, and thank you, viewers, for bearing with us during the technical difficulties. To continue our newscast, last month, Pacific Gas and Electric Company in California settled a lawsuit for $1 billion after the company was blamed for downed power lines that caused 14 deadly fires. NBC 16's Alex Thrower took a look at how local power companies are preparing for wildfire season, including new precautions they're taking this year.
They're blamed for multiple deadly fires in California. And here in Oregon, power lines were responsible for a half-acre fire near Mistletoe Hill Lane in Douglas County on Saturday.
We've seen actually an increase locally here over the last 5 to 7 years in power line-related fires.
The Douglas Forest Protection Agency, who responded to the fire, says it was caused by a downed Pacific power line.
A line will break or, something fails in the system.
The utility company says the power line was down after a tree fell on it. Debbie Wilson, general manager of Lane Electric, says downed trees are a common cause of power line fires.
Power lines are hot, intense heat, and so what that will do, if it's laying on the line, then it can smolder and it can start a fire.
She says it's a big concern this year, especially with dry conditions and more unstable tree limbs after past winter storms.
We routinely maintain our system and we routinely trim the trees.
Wilson says once a year, Lane Electric surveys their power lines looking for
hazardous trees, low-hanging branches that look like they're going to fall into the power lines.
This year, they're taking precautions a step further.
We have some equipment on our lines that are essentially circuit breakers.
The circuit breakers cut power when it senses an impact to the lines.
With everything being so dry, we don't want to take any chances. So we're setting that equipment so the first time something hits the line, it turns the power off.
She believes many utility providers are looking at better safety options following California's fires and lawsuit.
We are very concerned about life and property, and we want to do our part to make sure nothing happens.
Learning from the past, making changes for the future. I'm Alex Thrower reporting.
Wilson says if you ever see a downed or unstable tree near a power line, call your local power provider. She says utility companies rely on these reports, especially in rural areas. And now we are joined with Hayden Herrera, and I know the Emeralds are back in town.
Yeah, the season's been on for nearly a month. I've only been able to go to one game. I'm going to get out soon, I promise. Lots of people have, though. Another jam-packed crowd on hand at PK Park. The Emeralds returning for action for a 3-game home series. Can they send the fans home with a victory? Highlights when we return.
Well, it finally happened, Zachary. Somebody burned down my she shed.
16 Sports Desk is brought to you by Three Rivers Casino Resort.
The first half of the Northwest League season ends on Monday. In the South Division, the Eugene Emeralds are already out of contention in clinching a playoff spot and will have to look to the second half to get into the postseason. The M's back at home Wednesday hosting the Hillsboro Hops. Eduardo Nunez off to a tough start. He threw 10 consecutive balls before getting a strike, but he gets out of the first inning with no damage. In the third, Brian King would come on to pitch, and he was on fire, pounding the strike zone, keeping the Hops off the board. This game was scoreless until the bottom of the fourth. Nelson Maldonado at the plate, but Jake Slaughter, he's stealing third. The throw wide of the bag, and Jake will break the ice and score on the play. The Hops would take the lead in the seventh, but the M's answer back with 3 runs of their own. Eugene wins 5-2. Thursday's game starts at 7:05 p.m. On Thursday, former Duck Ryan Nelson will get the start for the Hops against the M's. The second-round draft pick by Arizona has only made one appearance with Hillsborough thus far. He threw one inning of scoreless baseball against the Boise Hawks on Saturday. More baseball. Mariners in a day game against the A's. This play pretty much sums up how it went for Seattle in the 8th. Tim Beckham to deep center, but Ramon Laureano, he's not letting that leave the ballpark. What a catch. Perfectly timed. Mariners lose their 6th in a row. They're back in action Friday, hosting the Angels. It may be almost midnight here on the West Coast, but over in Northern Ireland, the 2019 Open Championship is already underway at Royal Portrush Golf Club, marking the first appearance in this major for former Duck Aaron Wise. Wise will become the 4th Oregon golfer to play in all 4 majors. His best career finish in a major was just a few months ago when he placed 17th at the Masters. While round 1 action is in full swing, Wise still has a few hours until he'll tee off 5:15 a.m. Pacific with Billy Horschel and Jazz Janwadananand. Wise, considered a long shot to win the tournament. Northern Irishman Rory McIlroy, playing in his home country, is slated as the favorite. Some youngsters taking the track on Wednesday for the Oregon Track Club All-Comers Meets. This goes on through the end of the month at Lane Community College. OTC puts on the event. Wednesdays are the little ones, 1 through 12 years old. Thursdays are for ages 13 and over. Now, anyone can compete in these. That's why they're called All-Comers Meets. At times, the OTC elite competitors will provide some insight. For more info, check out OregonTrackClub.org. Finally tonight, we've seen baseball managers ejected from games before, but never like this. This is Coach Drake of the Kalamazoo Growlers in the Northwoods League. As you can see, the 6-year-old not pleased with the umpire on this particular night. And Blue is going to send him to the showers early. After being tossed from the game, the little fella, he did some tossing of his own. Throwing some bats on the field, tossing a bucket of balls. He spikes his hat down on home plate. No word yet on if Coach Drake will be grounded for his actions or fined his allowance. The best part is the walk. He has the walk like down to a T, because that's how a 55-year-old baseball manager walks. He just needs a pot belly.
He is so cute, and you can see the players in the back just laughing. They encourage it. It's so
face,
funny.
Though, he's stone-faced.
Yes, he was very serious.
He'd be a great actor someday.
Thank you so much, Hayden. And coming up next on NBC 16 News at 11, a new emoji may be in the works. More on its development.
Dear Coffee, you're fired.
Our passenger car emojis, SUV emojis, motorcycle emojis, and even race car emojis, but there is no pickup truck. Ford Motor Company is hoping to change that, though. Today, Ford announced it has petitioned for the first ever pickup emoji. The automaker said it came up with this blue truck design after months of top secret development and testing, and Ford actually submitted its proposal to the Unicode Consortium, in 2018. The company hopes the design could be included in the next emoji update planned for early 2020. If it is approved, the design will be customized for all mobile platforms.
They also don't have playing cards. I learned that last night while watching the World Series of Poker. Yeah.
That would be a good one to have, actually.
It'd be easy. Just a deck of cards.
I love playing speed. Yeah, I think that would be a good one.
Do it.
And thanks for watching NBC 16 News at 11. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next.
What's more fun than a giggling goat?
A quick